Guys, welcome back to another video. In today's episode I'm going to be talking to you about Windows 7. Windows 7 was a part of our lives so many more for years until all of a sudden it decided to go ahead and not be supported anymore. So today I've got a little PowerPoint which will be a little thing. What even is Windows 7 and why did it come? To make this answer correct, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what Windows 7 was. Windows 7 was the most powerful operating system. Even computers that run Windows XP or Windows Vista, or even users that had Windows XP could upgrade to Windows 7, and then that was the fast operating system. And here's the little PowerPoint. So what even is Windows 7? Why do we have this operating system today? Well, it's just loading up. But today, So what was Windows 7 and what was it like? Well, to tell the story, what even is Windows 7? So Windows 7 was the best version, and just because how it came out of the best version, it was the best operating system. The release date was 2009. Then it got out supported of 2023, January 19th, which of course is on my birthday. But why do we need to hear all this? And what's the main reason of why? Well, here's Windows 7. Here's why Windows 7 was the best version of Windows. Here's why. So the reason why it came out at the right time is just because, well, Windows Vista came out at 2006. And Windows XP was still going on around that time. So Windows XP was a version. So the timeline before Windows XP. If we go over to the next 3 versions of Windows, just before Windows 7 came out, we also first got Windows Whistler, which was, of course, a beta of Windows 2000. After Windows 2000 got released, the name of the name for that operating system was called Windows 2000 or Windows Me, or whatever you call it. But Windows Whistler was, of course, the best version. Now, Windows Whistler was representing how it came out at the right time. The reason why is because I have to tell you what the right time was. So, Windows Vista came out in 2006. After Windows Vista came out in 2006, we move on to 2009, which is Windows 7. So after Windows 7 was released, then Windows 8.1, or Windows 8, was released in 2012. And that was the worst operating system. So many people stuck with Windows 7. So as time went on, a year later, Microsoft decided to develop Windows 8.1. So they barely got any users for Windows 8.1. But then after they released their touchscreen, boy oh boy, Windows 8.1 got a lot. But that's the reason why. It's just because Windows 7 was just always the best operating system. It always came out at the right time and that stuff. Now, next one is made Windows easier to use. So the reason why it made Windows easier to use is just because Windows Vista. So we need to talk about the problems about Windows Vista. So what Windows Vista was, is just, it wasn't a good operating system. So it had the same as Windows XP, because, like, as I'm saying, the download tab did not exist in older versions of Windows. Instead, it just existed in newer versions. So Windows Vista didn't have Explorer built in. Explorer was the taskbar, the background, the sidebar, and of course the icons, which are still today, but it's just all changed. Now, Windows Vista didn't have an Explorer properly built in because it didn't have the Downloads tab. Because you had to click this PC just to get the Downloads tab. That's all you had to do. And personally, I still do it today. But I mean, it just doesn't. It wasn't fair back then. Explorer was... Now, let's go back into 1987, where Windows 1.0 was released. So, after Windows 1.0 was released, it had a big change, you know. So, the reason why, what it had, is it had, like, a different timeline. So, yeah. So, the last one we can just get out. Okay. Don't know what I just copied this from video, but it's fine. We're only using 2 of them. So, after made Windows easier to use, once they first booted up into Windows 7, we had the Internet Explorer 7, File Explorer, and Windows Media Player, which wasn't up to date. And it's still not up to date with the computers that have the that still had the, you know, I don't know what I was going to say, but yeah, it had back then. It had the version 7.0 for Windows Media Player, but today we just have number 10 because they replaced Media Player with Media Player, which doesn't have Windows anymore. It's just called Media Player. Of course, just put it into Windows. It's not the point. So yeah, so after that, we're gonna go back to that came out at the right time. So we need to go in between 2008. So here's the next 3 versions of Windows. The first one was Windows Whistler, which of course was, I don't know when it was released. It was released in 2001, I hope. I hope it was released in 2001, because I don't know when this was released, but yeah. 2001, Windows Whistler got released. Then after Windows Whistler came Windows XP, but yeah. Windows Whistler didn't have an Explorer or anything like that. I don't know what Windows Blackhome is, but I know what Windows Whistler and Lockhorn, because I've seen a couple of videos about them. I'm sure Blackhome is a custom build of Windows or something. I don't know. Yeah, anyways, Windows Whistler came at the right time. So came at the right time. After it came at the right time, Windows Whistler was introduced at 2001, which means brought us to Windows XP, which was released in 2002. Now, after it was released in 2002, after Windows Whistler got released in 2001, 2002 came, which was Windows XP. After Windows XP got released, of course, Windows Lockhorn. So Windows Loghorn was introduced in 2005. And it was an operating system that you had to wait another year. And all of a sudden, Windows Vista. And no one used it. I think I like Windows 7. To be honest, I want to go back to Windows 7. But then again, it didn't have the pack for Windows. It still isn't secure. It isn't secure. So I love Windows 10. As well as I love Windows 11. Got different partitions. Anyways. So Windows Whistler. So we're talking about Windows Loghorn now. So the one in the medium. Okay, so we're done with Windows Whistler now, which means we're brought to Windows Loghorn, which was introduced in 2005. Sorry about my writing, by the way. So it was introduced in 2005, which then after that got scrapped. It got scrapped, took into 2006. After that, Windows, and after that, that was scrapped. Went into Vista. After that, after it went into Vista, it was released in 2006. So, wow. So a year when Windows Loghorn was released. So, I don't want that one and don't want that one anymore. So, which leaves us to the last one. Which is Windows Black Home. Now, I really don't know what Windows Black Home is. Now, honeycomb. Yes, it may. So the comb means honeycomb. Okay, they put honey to black. So that means black comb. It still had windows, but this one didn't have windows. It just had Loghorn. So we call Windows Whistler. So yeah, so we didn't have. So we're gonna get rid of that one. So after Windows was removed from Loghorn, now it was Blackcomb, Windows Blackcomb. So now after that, Windows Blackcomb was the last version before Windows 7. I believe it was introduced in 2008. Development began in 2000 and It started in 2007. Brought you into 2008. Brought you into 2007. After it was introduced in 2007, it got released into. It brought us into Windows 7, which means tick for came out right time. Tick for that one, but I don't know what that one is. So I don't know what that one is. By the way, if you guys have got any more solutions in the comments below, let me know what you have and theories about Windows. Type in the comments and then send me. So my Outlook is going to be in a link in the description. Going to be added right now. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you stay safe, guys. I don't want you dying. You're my favourite fans. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Or whenever. Bye.